Is this Solana's Game of the Year? Well, with a sci-fi survival game with a Call of Duty feel, experienced team, partnerships with Solana, and featured in Neo Tokyo by Alex Becker, this game is sure to rocket up the charts in 2024. What's up, gamers? My name's Mike and I'm your host here at Funjible Games. So without further ado, let's dive into one of Solana's most anticipated games, and that is Decimated. For those of you who don't know, Decimated is an online multiplayer survivor game. You've got two sides, human citizens and cyborg cops, both played by real players. For the backstory on this one, Earth is in a period of decay in this sci-fi cyberpunk world. With the disaster leading to the collapse of civilization, only privileged citizens were allowed onto a new world, leaving criminals and the poor to scavenge overgrown, flooded, and frozen old city. The world is now only inhabited by criminals, pirates, mutants, bounty hunters, and malfunctioning robots, all competing for resources. For the gameplay, it's a mix of survival, competition, and cooperation. You get to choose whether you want to be a law-abiding citizen, a cyborg cop, or something a little more sinister. The gameplay is in a third-person view with two main modes. It has PvE and PvP, and they've built a massive map covering over 64 square kilometers. So while you're wandering this map, you're walking around in that third-person view. You're looking at collecting resources, fixing up vehicles, getting your character ready. They also got some user-generated content coming your way, so you'll actually have even more customization options. But when it's time for battle, you get the choice to go into your first-person shooter mode and wreck your enemies. And you can do this in a collaborative mode with some of your new friends that you've made on Decimated, all the while fighting enemies and with the option to collect DIO token. Now, how they've incorporated DIO into the gameplay is really fascinating because you can actually take on jobs and earn rewards that way, whether you want to do legal jobs in the world or something like we were talking about earlier, that more sinister path. And depending on how much you trust your skill in the game, you can go for things that are really hard but have a higher reward, or start off with things a bit more simple. An example of tasks could be hijacking shipments, protecting shipments, collecting bounties on other players or NPCs, and even breaking prisoners out of jail. So when we were talking about risk to reward ratio before, in some games it doesn't matter so much, but in Decimated it really does, because this is where the survival mode comes in. Survival's no joke. Not only do you have your quests, but you have to focus on your character's food, water, and sometimes you need to get that oxygen. Not only that, but the stakes are even higher. If you injure yourself on mission, you're gonna have to find a way to patch yourself up quick or risk bleeding out. And I'm sure you've guessed it, if you die in this game, you are back to basics. Now, they do have options for things like safes and safe houses to make progress a little bit easier along the way, but there's no question this is a tough survival game that's aimed to test your skill. Now, to make players feel like they're more included in this world, you have the option for a lot of customization and user-generated content. You can customize your vehicles, trade things with other players, and even set rewards for team missions. And you can even find your own new territory, claim it as your own by spraying graffiti on it. However, if them cyborg cops seeing you up to no good, they might be after you. Now, to make sure things aren't crazy, non-stop madness and having a little bit more balance, this game has red and green zones. So you can guess it, the red is where everything's up for grabs, you gotta fight to survive. However, if you want a little bit more chill time for things like trading and checking out more of the game, there you can hang out in a green zone. Now, the game itself is currently being tested out in a closed alpha, but if you were an early member of their community, they are allowing players to play it now and test it out with them. So that being said, if you are a gamer and you like these types of mechanics, make sure you follow them on their X platform, get into the Discord, really become a part of their community member, because the next time they open up access, you're going to want to be involved so you can get in on these rewards before anybody else. Now, as for the impressive team for this one, they're from Fracture Labs. Fracture Labs is an independent game studio composed of individuals with prior experience working on various other successful AAA games for PC, console, and mobile games, and then they all came together in 2018 to start building a blockchain-based game and world for you guys. Now, there's going to be a lot of games this cycle that are going to be just starting now, and they're going to throw out some really impressive trailers, but you got to ask yourself, when did they start building? For this team, being 2018, they're already almost 6 years in development on this, and they're physically actively testing. So that's the type of thing you want to pay attention to. And they've been in the game development industry for over 25 years. Not only that, but you have to secure funding when you're doing these type of gaming projects, and they've already secured 3.5 million from the beginning. But if you've been watching the charts lately, DIO has been on a tear, so you can be sure that their treasuries are plentiful for the building coming ahead. That being said though, when we dive into their token here in a moment, you can see that there's still plenty more room to grow. Decimated also has some impressive investors and sponsors looking to see this game be very successful too. We have big names like Alameda Research, Huobi Ventures, Spartan Group, Cryptology AG, and others. Now let's dive in a little bit to this token economy. So for those of you who weren't aware, they kind of launched at the end of last cycle. So their token's been around for a little while already, but didn't get to take part in the massive hype of the 2021 gaming cycle like companies like Star Atlas. But what it did do for all you token speculators out there is force the project to face a bear market right away, where undoubtedly the token price, because people weren't excited about crypto anymore, went all the way down to private sale and seed price. And it hung there for most of the year until the market started picking up in around October and November, as you've seen. But with most gaming projects, they'd already be at 100 million or so market cap by now. However, this one, at the time of recording, it's still only at a $25 million market cap, which means theoretically should have a lot more room to grow. So if we take a look at other big Solana games, for instance, and a gaming bull run coming together, you're looking at a popular game getting to closer to be around a $1 billion market cap, where the most popular games of the cycle could even get a $10 billion market cap. Now, I have no way of knowing if Decimated will be in the top echelon of these gaming projects, but as a game that already looks impressive and has been embraced by Neo Tokyo as well as all those investors, I think this one has a pretty great shot. And for where it's sitting now, you can head on over to CoinMarketCap. Its circulating supply is already at 40%, which is pretty good for a gaming token. A lot of the others right now are around 3 to 6%. If this one could get to a billion market cap, it's around a 40x from here. So that's super impressive. And one thing for you, if you are a gamer and you don't care about token speculation, this game already does look impressive. And if you can earn these DIO tokens as just an added bonus as well as you're having fun, it's just some more use case for their token. However, that's going to wrap it up for this overview of Decimated, but we do have some exciting things planned for them in the future. We want to get part of their early access for the next round. Also going to be interviewing the founders of Decimated, so if you have any questions at all for them that you'd like us to cover for you in their interview, make sure you let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those videos, and of course, we'll see you in the next one.